Gentleman from Vermont.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, opposition to the Export-Import Bank is not a progressive idea. It is not a conservative idea. It is an idea that should be supported with today's vote by any member of Congress who wants to protect our taxpayers and protect American workers. A gentleman who occasionally has different philosophical points of view with me is Ron Paul of Texas, and I'm very pleased to allow him 3 minutes to speak in opposition to export-import.
Gentlewoman, the gentleman from Texas is recognized for 3 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks. Madam Speaker, I rise in opposition to this bill. This bill is nothing more than subsidies for big corporations. You know, if one were to look at the Constitution and look for authority for legislation of this sort in Article 1, Section 8, they wouldn't find it. That in itself should be a reason to stop and think about this, but we don't look at that particular article too often anymore. Also, for moral reasons, I object to this because even if you accepted the idea that we should interfere and be involved in this type of activity, it's unfair because the little guy gets squeezed and the big guy gets all the money. So it isn't morally fair because it can't be. But one thing that annoys me the most is when members come to the floor in the name of free trade. They say, well, we have to support the Export-Import Bank. This has nothing to do with free trade. This is the opposite of free trade. Free trade is good. Low tariffs are good, which lead to lower prices. But subsidies to big corporations and subsidies to our competitors is not free trade. And we should call it for what it is. So I don't think that we should allow individuals who claim they are free traders and yet support managed trade through NAFTA and WTO and all these special interest management schemes, as well as competitive devaluation of currencies with the notion that you might increase exports. This has nothing to do with free trade. So I'm a strong advocate for free trade, and for that reason I think this bill should not be passed. Now, on economic terms, there's good economic reasons not to support this, because some who favor this bill argue that, well, some of these companies are doing risky things and they don't qualify in the ordinary banking system for these loans, and therefore they need a little bit of help. Well, that's precisely when we shouldn't be helping. If there's a risk, it's telling us there's something wrong and we shouldn't do it. It's transferring the liability from the company to the taxpayer. So the risk argument doesn't hold water at all. Now, the other reason why economically it's unsound, this is a form of credit allocation. If a bank has money and they can get a guarantee of the Export-Import Bank, they will always choose the guarantee over the non-guarantee. So who gets squeezed? The funds are taken out of the pool. The little people get squeezed. They don't get the loan, but they're totally unknown. Nobody sees who didn't get the loan. All you see is the loan that benefits somebody on the short run. But really, on the long run, does it benefit the big corporations? Take a look at Enron. We've mentioned Enron quite a few times already, but if you add up all the subsidies of Enron, it's like $1.9 billion if you add up the subsidies from OPEC. And look at what they did. They ran a few risks and then they lost it. Who got held? Who was left holding the bag? The taxpayers. So I strongly urge a no vote on this bill. If you're for free trade, you'll vote against this bill and you'll vote for true free trade.
Gentleman's time has expired.